I believe that if life gives you lemons, you should make lemonade. And try to find somebody whose life has given them vodka, and have a party. I'm definitely guilty of thinking something is funny but thinking the audience won't. Then 3 years later I will finally try it and it'll kill them. I got to give them more credit. I believe everything creative is somewhat collaborative. If you're a painter and someone stretches your canvas, it was collaborative on some level. I'd rather do a really good small part than a really bad big part. Anybody could say anything they want about me, and it literally never penetrates my skin. But I work harder now because I have so much more exposure. And actually the harder you work as a writer, the better you get at it. It's like anything else. It's a muscle you have to exercise. I write more now than ever. The way my brain processes information is quite odd. I mean, I have attention deficit disorder and another learning disability I can't even spell. I don't even have a high school diploma. I'm smart, but you can't prove it on paper. The next time you have a thought, let it go. People are saying that I'm an alcoholic, and that's not true, because I only drink when I work, and I'm a workaholic. There were years when I was a beer and tequila guy, then I got real fat. And then I found that you could actually go on a diet and drink scotch. Then I got hooked on scotch, and if you get hooked on scotch, then everything else just tastes wrong. I didn't get where I am today by worrying about how I'd feel tomorrow. I had the right to remain silent, but I didn't have the ability. I believe that a bad Super Bowl halftime show is still better than a soccer game. The hardest that I've laughed at a movie was probably Team America. I laughed till I thought I was just gonna throw up. I almost had to turn it off. I really understood a lot more about comedy after listening to Bill Hicks, who died at 32 years old. He's probably the best comedian who ever lived. Although you can't say that because of Carlin, Cosby, and Pryor. When I was about 12 years old back in Houston, my dad used to take us to the driving range. There are two kinds of comics. There are the ones who build bridges, and then there are the people who walk across the bridges as though they built them. The bridge builders are few and far between. I do live like a rock star, but it's not as great as it sounds. It's a lot of traveling. Diamonds, that'll shut her up, for a minute. There have been times in my life that I've had a ton of vices, and my demons have run amok for years and years and years. Other states are trying to abolish the death penalty, mine's putting in an express lane. I've got a great cigar collection. It's actually not a collection, because that would imply I wasn't going to smoke every last one of them. You want to get the truth out of me, get me hammered. I've never been one to look up the ladder. I've always looked down the ladder. As long as there's one guy down there, I'm fine. If you look at the common denominator of all the comics who have had big success, it's being true to their nature. That's what takes a long time to learn. I was considered by my peers to be a good comedian. So that's all I ever strived to do, was get some recognition from my peers. You know, my first album, some of those jokes I'd done for 12 years because I couldn't throw them out. I was so in love with the idea of making people laugh for a living that I didn't care what I had to do to get there, or how much money I was going to make when I did get there. The bulk of my fans are my age, and I'm aging at the same rate they are. That makes me relevant. They like hearing what I have to say. I work hard at it, but it's addicting, really. I don't have a specific plan except for as long as people want to listen to me talk, I'm going to keep talking. I can't imagine a life without doing stand-up. I started selling out comedy clubs before I got to town with no advertising. I was selling out theaters just on the rumor that I was going to be there. My only goal is to make you laugh, not tell you the truth. I was a huge fan of comedy when I was a child. My goal is just to become a better comedian. Like a lot of Iowans, I have to drive just to meet basic needs. Am I going to drive into town for a loaf of bread and a half-gallon of milk, or am going into town to play cards with friends? Probably not. So it's definitely fewer trips. I think the big question is how much more expensive it will make the wine. The real test of it is once it's produced and on the shelf, what are people willing to pay? Lisa is one of the funniest comedians. She absolutely killed me. I loved it. It's not like driving the freeways of California. It's dog eat dog out here. You have to have water and food and be ready for most anything to happen. I hope you've enjoyed some of the new stuff tonight as well as some of the old stuff. I'll never forget this night as long as I live. I believe if life gives you lemons, make lemonade, then find someone that life gave vodka to and have a party. I quit smoking cigarettes, and with the $70 a month I am saving not smoking cigarettes, I'm smoking $700 worth of cigars. From the very beginning I started with a beer and a cigarette because I couldn't figure out what to do with my hands. So usually I have a beer and cigarette, and that's what I was doing with my hands because that looked natural and felt good. I only like the live audience. I don't even like to do stand-up where it's being filmed. Because it affects the way the audience responds to what you say, because it makes them uncomfortable. You have to perform in a light room, and I prefer a dark room. But I love to perform, and I don't really see myself doing any television at all. In my comedy club sets, I just work on what is fresh and try to build that show as long as I can. I don't like to do burnt material on stage. Even though my crowd loves to hear me do old stuff, I don't like to do old stuff. Apparently, I ain't the only cat on the block digs Cheetos. We have hearing aids in order to fix our ears. We have LASIK surgery in order to fix our eyes. People, you can't fix stupid. Star Wars Episode 3, and 1/4 Revenge of the Hicks. I smoke really good cigars. I don't smoke Cuban cigars. I would never do anything as un-American as smoke a decent cigar. Why does a pair of sunglasses cost more than a 25-inch color television? You can't fix stupid. When life hands you lemons, make lemonade. Then find someone whose life gave them tequila and have a party. Barbara was actually Jeff Foxworthy's interior designer when we first met. So, not only was Jeff responsible for my success in my career, he also introduced me to the woman who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, which, I think, makes us even. It's something that's really fun to do. It's a family business. I don't do any corporate work. They call me tater salad. Everybody I know is a joke writer. If you kill someone in Texas, we'll kill you back. I did have a deal for a little while, a cigar company that never really materialized that much, except that I ended up with 100 boxes of my own cigars with my signature on them. Which is great, they are wonderful cigars, but they never really fulfilled out, so now I'm out of it. I can sign up with somebody else or go pick a blend or whatever. I probably will, there is no sense in not doing it. I have had a front row seat to observe Darren's success over the last few years and never fully knew the keys to his achievement. He has unselfishly revealed his secrets with the compound effect so that others can learn from his success. In my eyes, it is more valuable than gold. You can only do two things with your life: give it away or throw it away. Nah, man, I like big, hard, throbbing stunned pause. I did not know that about myself. Everything creative is somewhat collaborative. If you're a painter and someone stretches your canvas, it was collaborative on some level. Ultimately, I'm the writer for me, but also any time one of my friends gets stuck with a bit, they can call me and I'm pretty good at helping them get there. I think we all work together on some level, but for the most part, we're on our own. If life gives you lemons, you should make lemonade. I believe everything creative is somewhat collaborative. The biggest piece of advice that I give young comedians is, if it's your goal to get where I'm at, go do something else. Because you'll never get here. Never. The odds are so bad. Because not only do you have to be a really, really strong comedian, but you also have to be lucky. And most people don't get that combination. I'm a comedian, and I like to work on my live show, and if I'm doing television, I don't have time to work on my live show, and I can become a lame comic, and that sucks. You can't ride home on a bowl of goat. I did not climb to the top of the food chain to eat carrots. The arresting officer who I had literally known all my life, you know what I mean. This guy lived 4 doors down from me in a town of less than 400 people. We've met. Anyway, at the station, he asks me if I have any aliases. And I was just being a smartass and said, yeah, they call me Tater Salad. 17 years later, I'm handcuffed to a bench with blood coming out my nose. This cop comes up to me and says, "Are you Ron Tater Salad White?" In Texas, we have the death penalty, and we use it. That's right. If you come to Texas and kill somebody, we will kill you back. There are a million really good cigars, you gotta really float around cigars. It's not like being locked into a brand of cigarettes, at least to me it's not. I don't even plan things until later, so no, I got no plans. You can't fix stupid. There's not a pill you can take, or a class you can go to. Years ago, while I was watching a baseball game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Texas Rangers, I remember staring in awe at Cal Ripken. I realized during this game that you don't have to be flashy or have power numbers to be great. It's about the simple things that are the hard things. It's about leadership, work ethic, and commitment.